years ago, I worked at this cheap waxing salon in a rundown part of town. The place was open 6 days a week from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., but the only people that ever really worked there were me and the owner herself. She'd come in for the morning and work on the handful of regulars we had, then she would leave me to watch the shop from 3 to close. Since the salon was right on the edge of the ghetto, it isn't hard to imagine that the clientele was sparse at best, especially after dark. I hardly remember getting any customers in all the time I worked there. Mainly, I would just make myself appear busy by cleaning the same things over and over again, with more and more attention to detail as the boredom grew. It felt nice in a way for the boss to trust me with a business like that, and I was getting paid by the hour, so it didn't matter to me if I was actually waxing somebody or just sanitizing the beds again even though they weren't in use. All around, it was an alright gig, and if nothing had happened, I probably would have kept working there until it inevitably closed down or laid me off due to lack of business. But of course, I wouldn't have such a crystal clear memory of my last night working there if something hadn't happened. It was just after sunset, and I had another 2 hours to go on my shift, so I decided to wipe down the whole big window pane from the inside, then the glass part of the front door too. It was pretty dark out, and I knew I was in a sketchy side of town, so I took a good look through the door to make sure nobody was lurking out in front of the shop watching me clean. There was no one in sight, so I felt safe kneeling to wipe down the bottom window pane of the door. I killed a good minute making sure it was spotless. Then when I was satisfied, I stood up. That's when she appeared right in front of my face, staring at me right on the other side of the glass. I was so shocked that I screamed and almost jumped into the air. She looked like the most severely anorexic person I've ever seen, like just a sack of skin hanging from a stiff skeleton, and her eyes were so sunken in that it almost made her skull look hollow. For a moment, I thought she was dead, but somehow still standing. But then after we kept staring at each other, her neck started to twitch, tilting her head from side to side, and at the same time her mouth fell open and she began to make the most awful noise. Like growling almost, but something more inhuman. I backed away from the door, wishing I had kept my keys on me in that moment, or better yet that there was a deadbolt I could just throw to keep her locked out. But there wasn't. She wouldn't stop making that sound, staring at me without blinking, without even breathing. I knew I'd been caught off guard, so I tried to collect myself.
Excuse me, can I help you?
She didn't respond. I was beginning to think she was incapable of speech. Without breaking eye contact with me, she walked into the door, pushing it open with her body like she didn't even notice it. Now, to my horror, she was inside the shop, and she still hadn't taken a breath from that creepy clicking